What up, what up, what up? I got a couple wide receivers that you need to be avoiding for the 2024 fantasy football season. We want to get rid of the headaches this season. We want to be aware of the red flags, so do not draft these guys when it comes to drafting. So let's start off with the cardio king, Gabe Davis, now with Jacksonville Jaguar. I'll be looking to avoid him in drafts. He's still going in that 7th, 8th round range right now on best ball on underdog. That's like an ADP where I still feel like I feel comfortable with other wide receivers or other guys at other positions, because Gabe Davis overall has not lived up to be this wide receiver 2 that everybody thought he could be. Not really getting good chemistry with Josh Allen, because since 2022, out of 101 wide receivers, he ranks 96 in catch rate. That is nasty work. 53.4%, and that's minimum 75 targets among the wide receivers. That is complete nasty work. I'm not thinking he's going to go over there and be plug and play into a Trevor Lawrence, Press Taylor's offense, based on he's going into an offense that couldn't figure out how to utilize Calvin Ridley properly. So there's the red flags for me to where I will be avoiding Gabe Davis at all costs. I'm not here for the up and down weeks. I'm not here for the really, really spike weeks and then a couple games where you have nothing on the table. 11 games last season were with 3 or less catches, and then 4 games with 0 catches. That is complete nasty work. That's not a guy I can rely to be on my roster to help me win every single week. So next up, I got Jordan Addison, and here's why I'm avoiding him. It's not anything to do with his talent. It has nothing to do with what he did last year. It's more so the quarterback situation here. Sam Darnold is the starter right now, as of now, until the Vikings go into draft day, trade up, and they bring in one of these rookies, and then they try to figure out who will be the starter. That's not good for me, who's a fan of Jordan Addison, and I'm looking at his ADP as of right now on underdog. He's wide receiver 39. It's around that 6th, 7th round range, but I like other wide receivers there. I like a Deontay Johnson. I like a Chris Godwin, a more safer guy, because we have to remember that Jordan Addison, he's sharing the field with a 36% target share, Justin Jefferson. So I'm not quite sure how the QB play is going to be to begin with. If Justin Jefferson's going to take a hit, if Jordan Addison's going to decline, I just don't want to take these chances here in these rounds where I'm looking for a solid wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 option. I'm not looking at Jordan Addison as if he's a bad player. It's just that the situation just brings too many red flags for me. I mean, look, he was great when he had Kirk Cousins. Now that the quarterback play is going to be taking a step back, that kind of worries me. Sam Darnold is more of a guy that's like a 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 1 interception type of guy, or no touchdown, 2 interception. That's the type of guy and type of vibes that Sam Darnold has been in the last couple of years, since let's go back to his Panther days when he was the actual starter. He started off hot and then died down. I'm not here for the up and downs. And we're looking at Jordan Addison with Kirk Cousins. He was averaging 15.5 fantasy points per game. And then once Kirk Cousins went down, it went down to 10 fantasy points per game. And he had a higher target share in that. So he went from 60 yards per game to 47 yards per game. It's not going to be a roller coaster that I want to be on. So I'm going to be avoiding Jordan Addison this year. And even if they do go up in the draft aggressively and get one of these top 3, quarterback prospects, I'm still not a fan of what could possibly happen with Jordan Addison as quarterback play. So this next guy carries an injury bug on his jacket, Christian Watson, that will be avoiding this year as well. He's more of a wait and see for me. He has the great profile. He has the talent. There's games where he has really explosiveness to him, where he has the high fantasy point games, but I am uninterested. I'm trying to fade all injury bugs this season, even though his dad gave an update being that, there was a great news about his hamstrings, that they figured out the problem. They're going to get it fixed, et cetera, et cetera. I just don't want to be part of the mess just based on the lack of chemistry and the lack of time he's been on the field with Jordan Love. I mean, if we look at last season when Jordan Love was targeting him, he had a 69.8 passer rating when targeting Watson. 6 of his 13 interceptions occurred when targeting Watson, and he only completed 53% of his passes towards Christian Watson. And that all goes to the injuries that he constantly keeps getting. It's to the point now where we're seeing younger talent like Bo Melton, where we're seeing Deontavian Wicks, be able to showcase their talent and get some time on the field to help with their development. So the lack of chemistry here is what really worries me. And then on top of that, you have to realize that this Packers offense, they spread the ball around. Not one of them wide receivers had a target share over 17%. So it's not like Christian Watson is going to come in each and every single week demanding a 20% plus target share. He's not a 1. He's going to be part of the circus. He's going to be part of Jaden Reed having this week, Romeo Doubs having this week, maybe Deontavian Wicks having this week. And then you add in Josh Jacobs in that backfield, who's going to be utilizing the passing game, I would think, fill in for that Aaron Jones role. So it doesn't really give me much to want Christian Watson to deal with the headache as a wide receiver 3 flex option. He's going in that 7th, 8th round. And again, there's a lot of other positional guys that I rather take chances on that have higher upside and who have some usage and proven talent on the field and be able to stay on the field to be a reliable roster worthy guy. So I'm going to be fading him, man, just based on it's just not for my roster to have these ups and downs. I need some type of consistency for Christian Watson before I be interested. So next up, I'll be looking to avoid George Pickens. Now, I know a lot of people are looking at this as he has an increase in targets, being that Deontay Johnson's out of the way. The wide receiver room currently there with Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin is not really threatening to his production. But man, we must remember who the offensive coordinator is. It's Arthur Smith. So this is going to be a mixture of Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith coming together, trying to figure out how this offense and what identity they're going to get, because now they have elevated quarterback play. But man, there's only two ways I can see this really happening for George Pickens. It's two versions of this offense that we can get out of Arthur Smith. I mean, look, we can get the Falcons offense with Drake London, where he had a high 20% target share when they did throw the ball, but he only averaged like 10 to 11 fantasy points per game. That's not the type of finish you want to have with George Pickens. Now we can get 2020 Titans offense when he was the OC, where A.J. Brown finished wide receiver 6, averaging 17 fantasy points per game. Now, my only problem here is they currently do not have a Derrick Henry on their roster that can run for 2,000 yards, because that's what he did in 2020, to create a lot more scoring opportunities for this offense, for the QB and wide receiver A.J. Brown finishing with 11 touchdowns. That is not going to be on the table for George Pickens, I don't think. I think this run game would definitely be good with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren creating more opportunities, but here's my problem: the touchdowns. Now you got Russell Wilson. We know he's not the Russell Wilson of old, so I still think that they'll be able to get down to the red zone. My only problem here, when it does come to scoring opportunities in the red zone, the last 2 seasons for the Falcons, man, 62% of the plays were runs. 62% in the last 2 seasons, which ranks second in the NFL behind the Eagles. So they're going to run the ball a ton in that red zone, and it gets messy down there. I know you remember watching the Falcons having Drake London run routes in the red zone, not getting the target, but Michael Pruitt gets the touchdown. Like, what the heck are we doing? Or John New Smith. And it's not Kyle Pitts, obviously, with his low touchdowns, but I don't want to get off track. I just think it's going to be hard opportunities for, George Pickens to get the fantasy finish that we all want him to get, especially in an offense like this that is lackluster on the perimeter outside of him. They could go to the draft and get a stud wide receiver, because as of now recording, the draft has not happened, but I'm just avoiding George Pickens just based on who the offensive coordinator is, the identity that they're going to try to stamp and put in the ground. They're going to be a run-first offense, and how long before George Pickens blows up and get very frustrated that he's not getting the ball. So this wraps up another great episode of RotoBaller Fantasy Sports YouTube channel. Please make sure you guys like and subscribe. Leave a comment below on some wide receivers you think I missed that you should be avoiding, or if you disagree with some of these guys on this list, let's try to go back and forth and have a positive, not toxic conversation. So you guys can follow me at Real Deal Fantasy on all social media platforms. Until next time.